ahead.
HaShem. Thank you, Rabbi. I wanted to ask you about the situation I had a couple of weeks ago about the separation, about the challah. I did the separation and I was ready to make the blessing just before to put into the oven. And I usually do in Spanish the blessing.
Yes. Yeah.
But I also know the blessing in Hebrew. But I like to say in Hebrew. The issue was in one word I hesitate a bit, and I was so nervous because I was in the middle of the blessing. So I continued in Spanish, and I did all the procedure. I left the challah burnt into the oven, but still the hesitation for the bracha remained in my mind. So the bread was ready, everything was ready, perfect. But how I felt bad about it. The previous situation with the bracha. I cooked a piece of bread already done. A big piece of bread, and put it into the oven again and burn it. That was and before I repeat the bracha over this
Second time.
Second time, but over the bread.
Right, I got it.
Yes, that was good at all.
Okay. So we got the situation.
Rabbi.
You're welcome. So let me first of all let me explain the situation. I go a little back and give a background. So challah, right? So we must separate challah again from a certain weight. So in pounds of flour. In flour is it's approximately 5 pounds. So in the US it's a standard like packs like 5 pounds. So if you're going to mix dough for so much dough, only then you save is a blessing. So what people do, they mix so much, right? No problem. They mix so much and then they freeze the dough, or they bake all of the challahs and freeze the challahs, and then whenever they need, they just take it from freezer and warm up. There is no problem. Whatever you do is fine. So you're not obligated to put yourself in this situation, first of all. But so in kilograms, I think it's like 266 or something, 2.66 or something like that of kilos. So if you have so much, it's I think it's 5 pounds, right? So you do it with a blessing. So if you have less than that, but you have I'm not good with kilos, but maybe 1.6 kilos. So in this case, or to 2.7 pounds, or 2.8 pounds. We have to double check. You do separation of the challah and without blessing. So because it's doubtful. So why is it doubtful, right? So we don't know the measurement. Yes, we don't know the measurements. Guess what? Because the measurement was actually the initial measurement came from a manna, original manna in the desert, and it was special measurement. And our sages converted this measurement into the volume, and volume is 43 and 1/5 of the egg. Right, that's if I remember correctly. So that's the measurement of challah, right? The volume, how much water these eggs with the shells are going to displace. So this amount of challah, and of course we don't know exactly how big the eggs were in olden days. I mean, even today, you go to the store, there is jumbo eggs, this type, that type. I mean, also they're not exactly the same. And I would say, like from eggs that we buy, is like this company or that company, the difference sometimes even 20% difference. One is bigger, 20% than the other. So what is the standard? So that's why our sages came up with a lower border and then the highest for sure. So lower meaning from this maybe like you have to separate, so we separate without blessing, and the higher like this as we said 5 pounds, approximately 2.6 kilos. So we say with the blessing. So and how much you have to separate? You have to say like 1 ounce. 1 ounce is we count approximately is 28 grams. 1 ounce or 28 grams, and before you separating it, you have to say the blessing. So it could be separate batches of dough you put together on one board. You cover with some towel or something. So it's board combines. They touch each other combined, and plus you cover with a towel. It's this whatever I just said. It's according to all of the opinions. So if they are touching but not on the same plate, okay, that not according to all the opinions. On the same like challah board, I mean like kneading board, they touch each other. Like they call it in English, bite into each other, right? And they cover. So it's considered to be one dough. Even this one you're going to use for cakes. This one you're going to be used for this challah. This you're going to be used for pitas. Okay, so if you're not going to cook, that's all bread. Cooking is not is a different story. So the proper procedure is as I said, you make the blessing, you separate this, and we're going to burn this as we said before in the class. So now the second thing is how to make to say the blessing. First of all, as we said, all of the blessings you can say in any language. There are only a few things in the Torah that you must say in only in Hebrew only. There is only a few things, but right when the Torah says and she says, like when there is a process of chalitza, for example, she says that's she must say in Hebrew, right? Or a Cohen when he addressed the nation before going to war, and he says to the nation, he must say only in these words in Hebrew, right? So they understand that understand is irrelevant. But all other blessing you say in any language that you feel comfortable, even in Hebrew works even if you do not understand what you're saying. Does not matter. So if you know that it's correct blessing, you say it's counted. But you cannot say in different language that you do not understand. So if it's I don't know, like French, you do not understand French, so you cannot say it in French. I mean, if you say it's not going to be counted as a blessing. It's a second thing. And a third thing is pause inside of the blessing. So the pause inside of the blessing, usually if you keep silence, there is no problem. Up to a certain time. I don't know. But like the 1 minute or 2 minutes, it's not considered be separation. I mean, interruption, not separation. In interruption. So if you kept quiet, so there is no problem. So this initial blessing was actually valid. There is no problem with initial blessing. What else? 1 second before we continue to bread.
Perhaps that I repeat the blessing over the bread already done.
Yes.
Perhaps that part.
Yes. No. I want to say something before that with the dough. Okay, maybe I'll remember later. So and sometimes people forget to do that. They forget to separate the challah. And under the pressure, this and that, okay, possible. So if a person forget to separate after the bread is baked, so you allowed, and you not only allowed, you're obligated to separate from the bread, from the baked product. Of course, the kezayis, this 28 grams, is not going to work. 1 ounce is not going to work. Because now you're saying that this 28 grams, this 1 ounce of bread is actually with the water, right? With the sugar, salt, whatever you added to your bread. So it must be a little bigger piece than kezayis, right? And you're allowed you're not allowed to eat this bread until you separate this challah. Because why? Because it is forbidden piece. So maybe the piece that you're going to buy right now is actually forbidden piece. So what we do, we say the blessing and we separate this piece from the bread itself. But in this case, in this specific scenario that we just described, so actually the way I understand the first blessing works, and then this second blessing was unnecessary. So in all of the cases of doubt, so what do? We don't say the blessings. Why we don't say the blessings? Our sages say that to say the blessing in vain, it's a biblical prohibition. Right, to carry the Hashem's name in vain is a biblical prohibition, and to say the blessing is a positive commandment, but it is rabbinical. So except the Birchas Hamazon, right, the grace of the meal, all of the blessings, all of the blessings are rabbinic. For mitzvahs for sure, for foods are for sure. So they're rabbinic, meaning what? So if you do not know if it was correct or not, so since you did the action, since you were not sure about the first procedure, you just separate the piece of challah without blessing. That's it. A piece of bread without blessing. That's would be the proper procedure. So for future, we would know what to do. Again, if somebody pause during the blessing, there is no problem. Just don't talk. Right, just keep in place. Maybe you forgot. Maybe you need to go to look up the wording. No problem. Keep silence, and silence is not considered to be interruption. Okay, I think we covered all of these details in this story. But go ahead.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Rabbi.
You're welcome.